In the dust-choked village of Makini, Aminata was more than just a girl. She was a beacon of hope. For 3 long years, her days began at 4 in the morning, harvesting oranges under a still dark sky. By the time the sun climbed to its scorching peak, her hands were stained a deep, stubborn yellow, the color of her sacrifice, the color of her love. Aminata didn't spend her hard-earned money on new clothes or personal comforts. No, every single leone she made was funneled directly to Jabari, the boy who had promised her the world once he conquered the city. This isn't just their story. It's a reflection of a widespread socioeconomic pattern. In many developing nations, nearly 40% of young men migrate from rural villages to urban centers searching for work, and very often they are supported entirely by the labor of the women they leave behind. When Jabari left Makini, his tears flowed freely. When he arrived in the city, he worked hard, hustling to survive. But as his fortunes changed, as he climbed the ladder from a simple driver to the trusted right-hand man of a billionaire, the yellow stains on Aminata's hands became a distant memory, a detail he wanted to erase from his life story. To Jabari, Aminata wasn't just his girlfriend anymore. She was a living, breathing witness to his poverty. And in his new world of polished marble and fine silk, poverty was a sin he couldn't afford to confess. The mansion had gates of gleaming gold, and behind them, a world Aminata had funded but could never enter. The day she finally arrived, exhausted but full of hope, she was met with a betrayal so sharp it cut deeper than any physical wound. It wasn't a mistake or a moment of panic. It was a calculated act of survival. When Jabari looked directly into her eyes and told the guards, "I don't know this woman," he was committing what sociologists call social death. He was methodically killing his past self to protect his fragile, newly built future. But fate, as it often does, has a twisted and ironic sense of humor. Broke, humiliated, and utterly alone in the sprawling city, Aminata was hired as a domestic worker in the very same mansion. The head housekeeper, unaware of the tangled history, saw only a desperate girl in need of a job. So for the next 6 months, Aminata lived in the cramped boys' quarters, a shadow in the house she helped build. She cooked the very same jollof rice that she and Jabari once shared with dreams in their eyes, back under the shade of a mango tree. Jabari's reaction to her presence was a textbook case of psychological projection. He couldn't stand the sight of her, the constant reminder of his own conscience. He would shout, his voice echoing through the grand halls, that her food was too salty, her cleaning too careless. He wasn't criticizing her work. He was screaming at himself, at the guilt that gnawed at him day and night. This is a tragically common scenario. Studies on workplace harassment show that domestic workers are 3 times more likely to face psychological abuse, especially when there's a pre-existing personal relationship or a significant power imbalance. The tension simmered for months, an unspoken war waged in the hallways of the mansion. It finally reached its breaking point when Jabari realized he couldn't buy Aminata's silence. His secret touches and empty corridors and his quiet offers of money were all rejected. She didn't want his hush money. She wanted the man she remembered, the respect she was owed. Since he couldn't silence her, he decided to destroy her completely. He went to his wife Shakir, a woman born into immense wealth who viewed servants as nothing more than replaceable tools. With a carefully crafted performance, Jabari painted Aminata as a delusional stalker from his past, obsessed and dangerous. Believing her husband's lies, Shakira didn't hesitate. She threw Aminata out onto the street without a second thought, and more importantly, without her 6 months of back pay. This act wasn't just a personal betrayal. It was participation in a widespread, systemic issue. In many major cities, it's estimated that a staggering 65% of domestic workers face wage theft. Lacking formal contracts and legal protection, they are vulnerable. It is tragically easy for employers to frame them for theft or misconduct as a cruel excuse to avoid paying what they are owed. Triumphant face watching from behind that gold-plated gate. But Aminata did not crumble. She didn't retreat to her village to hide in shame. She stayed in the city, her spirit unbroken. She took a job at a construction site, a grueling role typically reserved for men, carrying heavy bags of cement under the relentless sun. Her resolve was as hard as the concrete she mixed. One sweltering afternoon, a chance encounter changed everything. She ran into the lawyer who had handled the estate of Shakir's late father, the chief. The lawyer was in a bind, searching for a missing creditor mentioned in the chief's private files. It turned out that in his final months, the old man had grown suspicious. He discovered that Jabari had been diverting small but regular amounts of company funds to an unknown recipient in Makini. The chief had kept a detailed file, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. This was Aminata's moment. She went home and retrieved the one thing she had kept from her past, her money transfer receipts. Each slip of paper was a testament to her sacrifice, proof of the money she sent to Jabari when he was just another starving hopeful in the big city. The receipts proved, beyond any doubt, that Jabari had been a kept man, funded by a poor village girl, all while masquerading as a self-made mogul. When Shakira was presented with the evidence, When she saw the dates on those receipt dates that overlapped with her own courtship, with Jabari the carefully constructed illusion of her life shattered, the veil was lifted. She finally saw her hero husband for what he was, a fraud, a parasite who had built his entire life on the back of an orange seller. The fallout was swift and absolute. Shakira didn't just fire Jabari, she used her late father's powerful connections to ensure he was blacklisted from every corner of the industry. His meteoric rise was followed by an even faster, more brutal fall. Defeated and desperate, Jabari eventually found his way to the construction site, crawling back to Aminata begging for forgiveness. She looked at the broken man before her and simply turned away. Aminata didn't need his apologies. She used the settlement she won from her wage theft lawsuit to return to her roots, but on her own terms. She bought her own orange plantation, becoming the master of her own destiny. Her story is a powerful reminder. You might be able to wash away the scent of oranges from your hands, but you can never, ever outrun the truth of who helped you when you had absolutely nothing. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that uncovers the truth.